Welcome back to the Ponca City Monthly podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and we're getting to the end of the month. It's been a pretty exciting month. We've had some fun weather this past week. We did not get snow. I really thought we were going to get snow in April, just because it happens sometimes that way. But this month on the cover, we've got an exciting story about the LadyCat wrestling program at Ponca City High School. I forget where I'm at. Ponca City High School. And in the interview, we have a great interview with Coach Agee. And so today I thought it'd be fun to bring Coach in to have a conversation about the LadyCat wrestlers, not Wildcat. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How has the season been overall for you?
It was a good year. We had some girls that kind of grew up a little bit and learned their role on the team, and we got some girls that are graduating, and we're getting them signed off to colleges. I had 2 senior girls and a senior mat maid. All 3 of them are going off to college for wrestling. Our manager is going to manage the team over at NOC.
Wow, very cool. That's an exciting. It must be exciting for you to see them grow up and go off to do those things.
Yes. We my goal is to try to get 100% of my seniors every year to college.
I'm sure that's not an easy task by any means.
Sometimes it's not.
So let's talk about, you've been doing this for, did I read that 26, 27 years?
I had coached boys for 26 years as a teacher in the school system. I just finished my 30th year of coaching.
Wow.
But I coached boys for 26 years, and then a couple girls that I had worked with before we had a girls program. When this position came open, I had several girls come and ask me if I would take over the girls program, and had to think it over because I was going to get out of coaching. I was done. My boys had graduated. I was done, and I thought this might be fun. So I jumped on, and I interviewed. The school hired me as a girls coach, and don't tell Adam leaving, but I've had so much fun, I might have done this for free.
That's awesome.
Adam, don't take me serious there.
So were you a high school wrestler?
Yes, I wrestled in high school and college.
Okay. What about the sport? How did you get into the sport?
I grew up in Oklahoma City and was fortunate enough to get to move into a home where I had supportive parents, and wrestling at Perry is king. And I about the first week I lived with these people, I got into wrestling and went to my first tournament and just fell in love with it from there.
Yeah.
Growing up in Oklahoma City, I got in a little bit of trouble here and there, and I look at Perry, Oklahoma, and Perry Wrestling as the program that saved my life. Wrestling gave me a different direction.
Sure.
And who'd ever thought I'd made a living at this?
It is kind of weird when you start something like that, and then you think it's hard to imagine 30 years down the road and be like, I'm still going to be getting up every day and doing this thing. What do you think is the thing that pushes you forward every day to continue to do this for 30 years?
It's not hard to teach kids to wrestle. That's the easy part. It's hard to find kids that want to go through what wrestlers go through on a day-to-day basis, week to week, month to month, all year long. Try to keep them involved year round. I don't have to try very hard. These girls that, I don't know if I recruited them or if I inherited them or where they came from, they just started showing up, and they work hard. I don't ever have to tell them, you got to work harder, because they do whatever I ask. Hey, we're going to do this.
Sure.
So having those kind of kids in the room, the culture that we've built, it's easy to get up and go work. Even on Saturday, this last Saturday, I had to get up at a little before 4:00. We left Ponca City at 5:00 a.m.
Wow.
And so it's not hard when you have kids that are wanting to do this.
Sure.
So it's kind of a culture that we've built, and I didn't know where it was going to go, but we go freestyle every Saturday somewhere in Oklahoma.
Wow. every Saturday. That's pretty amazing that you get them all together and they have all those tournaments. Something that I was saying before we turned the cameras on, that if you watched the podcast the first of the month, I mentioned the fact that when I was in high school in '96, I was on the school newspaper, and a friend of mine approached me about wanting to join the wrestling team. And at the time, in '96, girls were not allowed to be on the wrestling team. And so we did kind of a short story about her process of trying to go, and the school saying that's absolutely not a possibility. Tell me a little bit about, for you, being a coach for so long, what the transition was like whenever they introduced and said, hey, now we're going to start letting girls wrestle.
Well, I was coaching my sons and some other kids, when they were 5, 6, 7 years old. We go to tournaments, and there's always a couple of girls here or there, and I'd always tell my boys, hey, she don't belong here. You go pin her. You make it hard on her.
Sure.
And that same girl show up at the next tournament, and then there's 2 more of them showed up at the next tournament, and it just kept going. It didn't matter how rough we were on them. They kept coming back and wrestling.
Sure.
And pretty soon you started seeing them where they were putting together girls' brackets, and it is just taken off. I read something on Facebook. This isn't a fad. Mm-mm. This is a movement. And girls and women in wrestling is a movement. It's I don't know where it's going, how big it's going to get. But I'm glad to be a part of it. It's been a lot of fun.
Like I said, it's kind of just something that, there are so many, like girls basketball has always been a thing, girls golf, all these different sports. So I think it's just kind of interesting to see, wrestling kind of coming into that.
Right.
When did you actually start doing girls wrestling?
I was coaching the boys here when I was on the boys' side of the fence. We had a few girls that had come out, and they'd try it for a couple of weeks, and then they'd disappear. And then the next year there'd be a couple come out, and then they started sticking around. And then we had some girls that would come in after practice, ask if we'd work with them. And so we worked with them, and then it started getting to where there were more girls, and we weren't really giving them opportunities. By that time, they had a girls' regional tournament, and we didn't have a girls' program. So none of our girls got to go to that regional program. And talk started happening, and we hired a girls' coach that first year, and she left after a year, and then I took over the program, and I don't know where all these girls came from. They just started showing up.
Word got out.
But yeah, those girls that asked me, I don't know whether they was mad at me but you want to coach girls wrestling? 10 years ago, absolutely not.
Sure.
They hit me at the right time. I mean,
yeah.
It's been a good experience.
As an athlete, how do you evolve, or is there any type of evolution that happens with going from a boys team to a girls team? Like, do you have to rethink that, or because you're kind of at the forefront of this movement?
When I took over the program, I told the girls the same thing I told boys when I started coaching junior high boys here in Ponca. I told them, I'm not coaching junior high wrestling. I'm not coaching high school wrestling. I don't coach peewee wrestling. I just coach wrestling. And I told the girls the same thing. I'm not coaching boys, girls. You're going to learn the same stuff. We're going to do the same things. You'll be expected to do what we do in wrestling. Mm-hmm. And that first year, it was rough. You can talk to any of my girls. So many of them thought, I want to quit. This is too hard. But they stayed on. They learned to wrestle, and we turned that program around that first season.
Sure.
We wrestled number 1 team in the state, our first duel, and they were shocked. I got a lot of compliments how tough the girls were, and we turned it around. And it's just building that culture mm-hmm. and expecting what you're expecting them to do.
Yeah.
And these girls, they know, and they go out there and they'll perform with their heart and soul and give you everything they got.
Let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned that they were number 1, but this year your team is number 1 because they won an academic. They were all
Yeah, we
great
had the
students.
highest GPA in all of 6A.
That's amazing. That's for the entire state, right?
Yeah, we've had a runner-up or a top 3 award for the last couple of years, and this year we submitted our grades and we had the highest GPA.
Wow.
Overall 6A.
What was your thought whenever you got the note that, hey, by the way, your team is the number one?
I was shocked, but proud. I kind of, that's something that we push towards, is if you're getting that second place, third place, you're getting a plaque from the state, hey, you weren't number one, but you're close. I mean, I'm very competitive. I want to win at everything.
Yeah.
We talk about grades. We talk about different times of the year when your grades drop, when wrestling season starts or you're cutting weight. We got to keep those grades up, not take zeros in the classroom. And our girls are hearing it. I tell them, with your grades and your work ethic, one day this group of girls will be somebody in Ponca City. You come back to Ponca and you're going to be the mayor. You're going to be the chamber person. You're going to be involved in the city stuff.
In the article, we mentioned that not only did Kelsey go out and talk to them, but Shelly from the chamber and Stephanie Austin, who was one of our city commissioners, was there.
And we had Nancy Zimmershed, school board member, came in and had talked to them.
Nice.
I have some ladies lined up for this summer. We keep putting positive, successful women in there. I can't role model for them as a woman.
Sure.
So I have to get
beard, isn't it?
I got to get women in the community to come in and talk to these girls.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a movement. So I need those people to come in and share experiences with them.
Absolutely. Which do you think is harder, training the physical or getting all the grades to be up there for you, which is the harder part? Because in the article, it says you check in every week with them to make sure their grades are...
Yeah, I look at their grades every week. Of course, you have to do that anyway for eligibility, but I look at where the grades are at. Sometimes I'll print off their assignments and see what they're missing or what they've scored low on. I always highlight it and hand it out to them. That way they're aware of it. I just think these girls want to be successful.
Yeah.
I think if we were to have a rock throwing contest, I think these girls want to be successful. They're going to get out there and give everything they got to be successful at it.
How about on the community? I know in the article we talk about their community involvement. They do some stuff in the community. How do you get them motivated to do those kind of things?
Well, if we just raise kids or if we just coach them to win, then we've failed them. We have to coach them to win, but we have to teach them to be good citizens in the community that supports them. And I'm telling you, our community has really come along and support these girls. We're doing fundraisers a lot, and these girls get out there. I'm not saying we do community service just for fundraising, because we don't get anything for the community service. But I was going around talking to people, oh, we have a girls wrestling team? Is that real? Absolutely. And people didn't know we had that. And so I wanted to get the girls out there. We're going to do community service. We help the CDC move. We help with Oktoberfest. The Santa cause. We do a lot of stuff in the community just to help out and let these girls know that, you got to give to the community for the community to support you.
Yeah.
And we put in, I know the article said 250 hours. As a group, we've logged over 300 hours.
Wow.
And I think giving back to the community kind of humbles the girls. They get to see not everybody grows up like them. Mm-hmm. It lets the community know we're out there.
A few weeks ago, I interviewed Mary Beth Hunt from the Child Development Center. Mm-hmm. And in that, she told me about how, they had, as they were planning that move and they had so much to move, they had, set out like 2 days and, had everything planned out. And then she said the girls wrestling team showed up. They got everything moved in like an afternoon, and they were like standing around saying, what are we going to do now? Because
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty amazing.
And that's the way they approach a lot of things. Third period in a match, you're down 2. You got to go to work. There's got to be some urgency to it. And that's the way we approach the practices. That's the way we approach the schoolwork. We get out in the community and do things. We're going to hit this and be successful at it.
Before we turn the cameras on, I mentioned a little bit about, as a coach, as a school coach, you're not like an NFL coach where these are your players for life. You kind of have to let them go at a certain point. What's that like for you to?
When I first started coaching, that was something that was really hard to have somebody in there 4 years, and then the team, they've become a leader and the team revolves around them or their work ethic in the room that help the chemistry of the room, and all of a sudden they're gone. That was something that was really hard for me when I started coaching, and it's still hard, but as one is going out, you have to try to pick up somebody else. Is that going to be a freshman? Is it going to be a sophomore? Is it going to be a junior? Or do you have a senior that's coming up that's going to be a leader? So you're always trying to find. I don't appoint leaders. They just kind of emerge. They just show up, and you try to guide them and make suggestions, and hopefully out of your guidance, you wind up having some leaders in the group.
Because the leaders kind of help the whole team.
You can have a leader. I mean, they're good leaders and they're bad leaders.
Sure.
You can have somebody that's leading have a bad day or an off day, and you can feel the whole room just kind of. But if you've got that person's having a bad day, but this one over here is having a great day, they can help pick that up. So not having just one leader in a room is beneficial.
We talked a little bit about, the kids growing up and going off to college. Are you seeing ladies wrestling more prominent in colleges?
Yeah, a lot of colleges, there are a lot more colleges that are adding the program, and so there's a lot more offers out there, a lot more opportunities for girls to get into the college. We got a lot of schools in Oklahoma that are picking it up. Rose State just picked it up. NSU just picked it up. We've got NOC, one of the front runners. Carl Albert, one of the front runners. I mean, there's a lot of colleges that are picking it up. Murray State down to Ardmore.
Yeah.
A lot of schools are picking it up, and so with more programs, there are more opportunities. And
it kind of goes back to what you were saying. This isn't a fluke thing.
No, this is not a fad. This is a movement.
Yeah.
This is a movement for, I don't want to compare it to women's rights or anything like that, but it's kind of a movement that girls, hey, we can do this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 10 years ago, I'd have laughed at somebody that said that.
Sure.
I guess I'm getting smarter as I get older, but it is a movement. These girls are out there and they're competing, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
I think it's fantastic that they're able to take what they're doing in high school and continuing that on into college. That's pretty important. You were mentioning that you kind of coach a wide variety of ages. Mm-hmm. How early if my daughter wants to do that, how early should I start thinking about that?
That's up to, it's different with every kid. My boys, of course, they grew up in the wrestling room. As soon as they could walk, they were running around the wrestling room. But wrestling is a great exercise, mm-hmm. Great mentality builder. These kids can go to practices. They don't have to compete until they get older, or the competition, the quantity of their competition could be at a low. Get 1 or 2 tournaments a year, or just work out. I had my boys in the room for 3 years before I let them compete, and they were in there learning, and finally they went to their first tournament. And after that, I couldn't hold them back. They wanted to go every weekend. So every kid's different. Are they picking up the technique? Are they positive about going to practice? I always give my boys an opportunity. Hey, you want to go to a tournament this weekend, or do you want to go deer hunting? Or my parents did the same with me. Hey, you want to go to the tournament this weekend, or you want to stay home and ride your dirt bike or what have you? And I always picked wrestling. My boys always picked wrestling. So
nice, because it's just something that you kind of grow into and can sort of. Do you have any advice for people who maybe their kids want to be athletic, but they don't know what sport to play?
Well, try them all.
Try them all.
Try them all. Don't pigeonhole a kid to being just a wrestler or just a soccer player or just a softball player. Let them get out there, especially in middle school. Let them play them all. I don't have a problem with the girls that go off and play other sports. I know that we've had a couple of girls that wanted to go over to another sport, but our wrestling season wasn't over yet. I'm like, well, you got to wait till wrestling's over, and then you can go. And we've had a couple, but not very many, because we wrestle year round. We wrestle the winter time with the school program, and then right now we're hitting freestyle. We're going every Saturday for 9 weeks, going to tournaments.
And is the stuff that you're doing over the summer, is that through the schools?
No.
Okay, so that's something completely different.
No, it's USA Wrestling. They have freestyle, and it's different for boys and girls because the boys, when they go to college, they wrestle folk style. And when the girls go to college, they wrestle freestyle. So if we just wrestled folk style with the school, we don't get very many looks. But you go some of these big tournaments, these freestyle tournaments, that's where the coaches are at.
Nice.
They're looking for the girls that are freestyling.
And I read in the article that we hosted a big freestyle tournament.
It wasn't freestyle.
Oh, it wasn't freestyle.
No, it was folk style. That was in our school program. But we held the first girls tournament in Ponca City in our new facility. It's amazing. I've showed the picture out to a lot of people. We had 18 teams. This year I'm looking at maybe doubling that. Wow. We put out 7 mats. We're going to try to put out 10 mats this year. So I think we have 40 teams that are talking to me. I've got teams out of Nebraska. Wow. I've got teams from Texas, one from Missouri. I mean, I want to turn this into the biggest girls tournament in Oklahoma.
Nice.
We have the facility.
Right.
We put metal chairs out. We cover the turf. We lay the mats down. All that stuff not ideal, having the Viz Queen on the turf or steel chairs. People want bleachers. But it's like one of the national tournaments. You go to these big tournaments around the country, and they got steel chairs out there, or even wooden chairs. There are no bleachers, so there's a lot of things that we can do different to build this tournament. And last year was the first year, so we didn't do everything right, but we did a lot of good stuff. Coaches were out talking about it, passing it along. I just had a guy Saturday. Asked me if we're going to have that tournament again. I said, you bet. Yeah. He said, hey, put us down. Can we get in? I'm like, sure, absolutely. Nice. So I've got guys coming up and asking to get their programs, get them into the tournament, because we do a junior high bracket and we do a high school bracket. Cool. We're gonna kind of expand on that and do a 6th and 7th grade bracket, so your beginners can get into that and get some mat time and obviously get more girls into the tournament.
As someone who has done this for a long time, how do you feel whenever you start a program like this and then you see it turning into, one of the biggest events in the state?
I don't know that.
Or is that just like...
I don't know that we're at that point yet, but I see it growing, and it's kind of nice. And my first year I got to coach the all-state team. And I would have to cut that plaque up into about 50 little pieces and hand it out to everybody around me, because there's so many people that are working towards this.
Yeah.
And I tease everybody. I tell them I'm just a pretty face in the program, but there's so many people that are working. We got some parents that not do they just work their day job, they work hours from us after their day job.
Yeah.
We got coaches, Tony Arbona, he works for OMPA. I hope I said that right, Tony. But he works a full-time job, and then he comes in and puts more hours in it. And couldn't do it without Tony. And then Coach Whetstone, we brought a new coach in this year. I couldn't do it without all these people.
Sure.
It just ain't going to get done but to look and see how it's growing, I'm proud.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tony's proud. I think Whitstone's proud. Just to see it grow and get better each year. So we're moving forward.
Fantastic. Do you have exciting plans? Because we're pretty much at the end of this year. I mean, this is going to air, this week or next. And so May and then graduation. You have summer programs that you're going to be doing. But as far as the school goes, do you think next year will be an even bigger program?
We kind of have to control the growth of it because this is a good problem to have, but we don't have a big enough room. Oh. We're on a mat and a half, and we started with 64 girls this year, and we just could not accommodate that many girls. We're growing fast, and we've got to figure something out there. But we're going to try to alternate the high school and the junior high. And then we always do like 5th and 6th grade in the evenings. So, but we're going to alternate high school and junior high. One day, one group will be on the weight program while the other's on the mat, and then they'll switch. And then the next day, the junior high will be on the weights while high school's on the mat, and then we'll switch. But just got to be real creative in making it work.
Well, very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach Agee, for coming in and talking with us. Good luck with everything going on with the LadyCats, and best of luck. And come back next week for another great podcast interview.